Hogwarts Legacy is out, and honestly, it's pretty incredible. I invited my good friend Zach Dunn. Yes, that's right. The always intelligent, always insightful Zach Dunn on to talk about how he's doing playing this game. He's about 20 hours in, and he's going to tell us his favorite details, how he's spending his time, and honestly, if it's the Hogwarts game he always dreamed of, and it might be. We also talk about The Last of Us. He called in right after episodes 1 and 2. Has the show gotten better since he joined us? He was really kind of nervous of which direction it would go. Where does he stand with it now? And he's also a Broncos fan, so I kind of had to rub it in. This is Hey Dylan.
Hey Dylan, thanks for taking my call.
Hey Dylan, big fan of the show.
Huge fan of the show, love what you're doing.
Such a big fan of the show. I'm so glad to have a minute of your time.
Hi, Dylan. It's Gavin.
Dude, Dylan.
Look, I cannot help you. I'm sorry.
It's not hard to understand, okay? So here's my thought. You would be crazy to think that.
Well, welcome into Hey Dylan. It's me, Dylan. We're back. And, of course, got one of my favorite people in the world to come on because, gosh, there's just so much to talk about. Zach, welcome back to the DBN, dude. Last time we heard you, you were just a simple voicemail.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, just a few weeks ago, dude. Welcome back.
Well, I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to be back, as face to face as we can get, separated by the hundreds of miles that we are.
I know, true. I was explaining to someone that these are fun to do because I enjoy trying to come up with a show or things to talk about, but it's also it's a reason to talk on the phone with my friends for an
Absolutely.
hour.
You can invite me on to talk about absolutely any topic, and I'd be happy just because it's an hour to get to catch up with you.
Dude, yeah. I'm like, when else am I just gonna call Mike, or call you, call Shay, any of them? But it's
we don't need an excuse, but it's nice to have one.
It's nice to have one, and we can put it out there for the memes, for the whatever. But you came on to talk Last of Us. We're gonna talk Last of Us today, but the real reason you're here is because of a little game called Hogwarts Legacy that came out, and I think we had talked about it when there was buzz about it, trailers. We'd been like, dude, did you see this? Type thing. I think he just unplugged himself. Did you see his face? Might have to reset.
Absolute fucking rookie move.
Dude, did your computer die or was it?
No, I tried to move my laptop back and just straight up just press the power button.
That's so funny, dude. There was a frozen frame of your face, realizing what you had done. It's pretty good.
Because I'm 85 years old, apparently.
No, but so Hogwarts Legacy, we had been on the hype train when it was coming up. I knew of any of my friends who was gonna play. It'd be you because you're such a massive Harry Potter fan, and this is the promises of this game were that it was you could free roam the castle, you could go to neighboring towns, you could fully live in the world, and it was exciting. And I got to know, dude, how's it been for you? Because I mean I know it's very open ended, but I mean, where are you at? Did you get it right away? How long have you played? What do you got?
Well, it was a funny little bit of a journey because I think the promise of the game was so much that I think it's just a defense mechanism. I kept my expectations really low.
Yeah.
This game originally leaked 3-4 years ago, a long time. You saw a little bit of gameplay, and I was like, that looks fun, but I don't know if it looks really polished. And kind of as it came out, really everything about the game looked great, but because it was a first-time studio and it's such a big IP, I was like, there's no way that this is actually gonna be pulled off and not be just kind of an amateur cash grab. And so I tried to stay away from it. I'm still working my way through Elden Ring, so that was my focus. I was like, I'll finish Elden Ring and then I'll take a look if this Hogwarts game has anything going for it. And then I think right in the days leading up to it, I started to see some gameplay, and I was started to just not be able to help myself. Caught a couple first impressions that were, surprisingly positive from my perspective, and I was like,
yeah,
okay, you got me. Let me go check it out.
Yeah,
So
dude.
downloaded it as soon as it came out, and I think I played probably 6-7 hours straight, without even getting up, as soon as I downloaded it. And so at this point, I want to say I'm 20 hours in ish.
Okay.
Anytime I get a couple hours, I jump in. And it's just magical,
Dude.
for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
It really just reignites all of those like childhood daydreams you have
Yeah.
about going to Hogwarts
Yeah.
and being a wizard. And you know, the game does a lot of things really, really well. I don't think some of it's not revolutionary as far as like open world games go, but what it tries to do, I think it really succeeds at. Um, and it really is just that fantasy of get to go to Hogwarts and have some fun. I mean, I think it was a night or two ago. I literally just turned off all the HUD and just walked around the castle at night for like 2 hours and just got to enjoy what it's like to be in Hogwarts. Because from just if you just talk about the castle, which is such a small part of the map overall,
Yeah.
it's got to be. I mean, maybe the most impressive interior area in any video game I can think of.
Dude, you are totally right about that, and I think that's the strength of this game is like when we think of big open world maps, like the probably current GOAT, I mean, I would say is Red Dead Redemption with
Absolutely.
a map where you could be in the desert, you could be in a modern industry town, you could be up in the snowy mountains, kind of at any point. And like I was thinking of Harry Potter, I'm like, oh gosh, it's a castle. It's like kind of a bunch of rooms and hallways and corridors, and like how is it all gonna connect? And wow, dude, like you really get lost in like where you are, in like what's going on. Like I like using flu powder, but like
I
sometimes
never. The only time I use it is when I need to go to Hogsmeade really quick to sell my gear. But that is absolutely it. And really,
wow.
the first thing I did was I turned off my mini map. Because really, I
Oh
think
wow.
just with games are with where really good games are at these days, I think I appreciate game design that can take you where
Wow.
you need to go and to see interesting things without your mini map. And having been playing Elden Ring for the last few months, really almost the last year, it's really taught me a lot about that and learning to navigate the castle and figuring out how to get from A to B. And if I need to I have a class at the astronomy tower. Cool.
Yeah.
How do I get there from where I am? And you just kind of have to
Wow.
you slowly learn the castle like you're a student and you figure out your shortcuts and all that. And that for me has been a really, really fun part of it.
Dude, yeah, it's so cool, and even the way, of course, they pull off like battles and whatnot. Oh,
I'm just
okay.
refreshing my webcam here.
No, the way they like, yeah, just like dueling in general and spell casting. It was such a clever design. It's funny as I'm playing, I feel like I'm getting a lot of a bunch of games in a good way. Like when
Yeah.
like Reparo kind of feels like playing the Lego games where you're kind of
Yeah, a
rebuilding
little
it
bit.
and you're seeing things come.
So satisfying for some reason
Oh,
too.
so and then the Accio, feels like the grapple hook from Arkham to me, where it's like,
A lot of Arkham influence in this game for sure, which is interesting for a game that's not melee
yeah,
combat.
no,
For
yeah,
it to have that kind of Arkham rhythm to it,
yeah,
which Arkham felt very revolutionary for that system back when Arkham Asylum came out.
totally,
It's just the rhythm-based combat of punch, punch, counter,
yeah,
stun, dodge kind of thing. And it's cool to see this iteration. And I think what one of the things that Hogwarts Legacy does better than really any other game on the market, I think, is making Magic a fun combat system and making it feel weighty and
yeah,
powerful.
yeah,
You think about a game like Skyrim, where the magic it can be useful, but no matter what, you just kind of feel like you're sticking your hand out and this sort of powder is
hmm,
coming off of you.
sure, yeah.
Maybe it's having the PS5 controller too, 'cause the sort of sensoriness of that controller
It's a
adds a
great
lot
point.
to it. But
Great point.
you really feel when your spells are hitting and when you are freezing somebody and then blowing them up with a fire spell
Yeah.
or pulling them towards you or floating them. I even had this moment where I was walking around the common room and you step off the carpet onto the wooden floor and you can feel it creak in the controller, and it's
That's
just those
wild.
little bits
Yeah.
of immersion that is so cool. But really, I think the having a satisfying magic combat system is what this game really excelled at. It's the one thing it had to get right.
Yeah.
Well, of several other things, but the most important for it to have satisfying gameplay.
Yeah. And I was explaining to someone else that like another like key part of a big scale game like this is like the side missions, the
Mhm.
achievements, the like I'm Mr. Revelio. Like I think that's
Oh,
all any
every 5 steps.
dude, no one's heard me say anything else at that school other than Revelio because like I'm Mr. like, I want to unveil and I love reading that stuff. And
Yeah.
I love even I don't know if I know you've done this. And I'll be mad if you haven't, but like you get information for a quest or from someone and it allows you to ask a couple extra questions to like flesh out the story and be like, wait, so why were you like kicked out of
Right.
class? Or wait, what is your what, should I know your family? And like things like that. And I'm like just like trying to download it all because of course the names are never easy. And,
Right.
and like the situations, but it's this I feel like I've gotten so I don't even have a broom yet. That's how far I am.
Oh, and that is when it. So
And
two
I
things
hear,
about
yeah,
that.
I hear that's when it starts. But I've been caught up in
Yeah.
Revelio and side missions because I also like I get weird in these games where I'm like, dude, I kind of want my skills and my gear you're wearing. I want that all to be upped when I play the main mission. Like I want to be at my sharpest that I can be. I know it'll these locks are for level 1 or for whatever.
Right.
And like I can't quite get to a certain level, but when I play these games, I'm always like, how can I get the XP as high as I can as I
Yeah.
play the main story?
And I kind of fall in an interesting space with that. So another thing that I love about this game is like you said, how it rewards exploration. That's my favorite thing about an
Yes.
open world game. Is
Yeah.
I love to just go explore every nook and cranny. I love loot. I want to find all the chests. I want to find all the secrets. This game does a really, really good job of that, especially with the way that you are trying to collect field pages and do certain challenges. And it's all about discovering things through the world is how you level up mainly, which is just a perfect system for it. And then you get to go into your menu and you unlock not only a new level, but you also get some gear from it. I love that. And the way the game starts by not giving you a broom, you have to explore on foot for the first few hours. Helps you kind of get acquainted with that whole exploration system,
Sure.
but it really gives the world a sense of scale when you are just when you're spending all this time running around Hogsmeade and Hogwarts and the lands kind of directly around it, and then you get a broom and you kind of get speed to you, and you can really start. You're flying for minutes and minutes in one direction. You open your map and you've only explored this
Yeah.
far.
Crazy.
Is just a really, really satisfying feeling. But when you talk about, talking with NPCs and wanting to get all that, it's so funny how quickly this game you get in a couple missions in and you're like, well, that guy's my buddy.
Yeah.
And the dialogue options I picked, I've already started a rivalry with this Quidditch captain from Slytherin because I don't like your attitude and I'm not going to let you get away with it.
So, but that's also interesting. And I was talking to a guy at work, and I was like, "Hey, man, be honest with me. Like, are you being mean? Like, because I can't find it in me to give a negative response, like at
Usually
all.
not.
But
Usually
also,
not.
and there have been times where, dude, Gareth Weasley asked me to steal something for him, and I'm like, oh, Weasley's asking me to do
I
something
have to do it.
mischievous.
I know it's a bad idea, but I have to do it.
Dude, but I said no. And I was like, oh, why would I do that? Like, that was a time where you kind of should select the not great thing. But
the potions professor was a guy immediately that you're like, I don't want to piss this guy off.
yeah.
So maybe it's a bad idea.
Dude, and Harry Potter thrives on the fact that you're like friends with a certain professor who gives you certain perks and makes life easier. Or tries to kill you. Either one. Like, which that's the school, right? It's kind of messed up.
That's part of the practical experience they're trying to give you. A theoretical experience doesn't work with wizardry.
So I also feel weird because when you're in the Wild West, in Red Dead Redemption, and you are in an abandoned cabin, and you open up a chest and you get a coin purse. It's like, heck yeah, it's mine. You get revolver ammo. It's like, heck yeah, it's mine. But when you're a student at a school, you're digging through people's crap. Like that's doesn't it like there have been times where I'm like, wait a second, dude, did I just like go into this teacher's office and just take 500 coins from him?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I thought Professor Pig was my guy and I just grabbed the coin purse off his desk. There's definitely an element of that where you're like, all right, there's gaminess to this.
Yeah.
And I think they tried to strike a good balance because I love this game and what it does. It's not my perfect Hogwarts game. I want like an immersive Hogwarts simulator.
Do you want rated M? Is that what you want?
That's not I mean, I'm not gonna get into that right now. It's high school, but we'll leave what happens in the Forbidden Forest out there. One of my favorite games and one I got into when quarantine started was Persona 5, and it's a game set. You're basically a high school student in Japan, and at night you and your friends go into the subconscious of these cruel evil people and try to get them to change. The systems of that game work really well because they're structured by your morning, your school day, your afternoon, and your evenings. And so during school, you're answering questions and that are getting you like points towards your knowledge. After school, you can go hang out with certain people to grow your relationship with them, which gives you perks. But it's kind of also about managing your time and okay, well, I want to do all these things, but I only have a certain amount of time during the
Mm,
day before I have to go to sleep. What do I want to fit in today? And it just kind of gives you like a good structure to your day and your school year. And part of me would love that sort of
interesting.
system
Yeah.
in this game because you'll be doing a quest and then it's nighttime and you're still running around and you run around and then it's daytime again and like my
Yeah.
student hasn't slept in 3 weeks since he's
Oh, I
gotten
didn't
this
know.
game.
Yeah, I didn't know sleeping was an option. But I
No, it's
mean,
not.
that wouldn't make it a fun game. But like, I don't. Did you play Bully growing up?
No, but I hear it's a sort of a similar system, right? Kind of the school
Well,
simulator
yeah, it
idea.
was, except like you would get truancy at night, which I think would work in Hogwarts. Like that was like a thing is that if you were caught outside the corridor after hours, you have to go
Yeah.
back. And that's what happened in Bully. And then Bully, like I don't know if they had like I think it might be day 1, day 2, day 3, or they called it something, but it was like you could only go to potions class on day 2, and if you missed from noon to 6 stopping by, you're not going to see it for 2 days.
Yeah.
And that's like, I mean, maybe it's just like, oh, that makes games too hard. But I mean, I kind of
That's
liked
what I
that.
want though.
Yeah, because then I had to chase other things, and then I had to prioritize. Okay, well, I got to be near like the potions. Like I got to be near the greenhouse for herbology on day 1.
I would never miss herbology, by the way, with
Dude.
Professor Garlic.
Oh my gosh, ugh. That's where I'd start. But yeah, dude, it's funny. And when it comes to collecting gear, I'm curious because I saw you sent me a thing that I've been thinking about. Is the boy who riz your character. Which
Right.
if you have a photo, send him to me. Maybe we'll put him in the thumbnail and be like, this is Zach here.
Maybe some gear pics.
But how do you justify wearing clothes that aren't your school cloaks? Because I feel so weird because they're like, I'm supposed to like do this duel, this like underground kid duel where you fight each other. And I'm like, oh, I could put on this gardener hat and it'll make my offense go up 10. But this giant ugly ass gardener hat is ugly, but maybe I need the.
Have you realized that there's a transmog system where you can equip your best gear, hover over it, press square, and it lets you attach the appearance of any gear you've had throughout the entire game to that. So you can
Oh,
make your fits
interesting.
exactly what you want. I
Oh
spend
wow.
so much
Okay,
of
so
my
I gotta
time.
explore that more then.
Yeah, I spend so much of my time in RPGs constantly changing my outfits and stuff just because it is I don't know I love putting together a fit on these things.
You do great work.
Well, it's one of those things where it's another part of the gaminess of it, right? Where I kind of justify it to myself. You walk around, and not every student is wearing like the standard black school robes. You see people kind of wearing Quidditch robes and things like that. So sometimes, if I'm feeling immersive when I'm in Hogwarts, I'll switch back to something a little bit more school roby, and then save kind of my other gear for when I'm out exploring. It's a similar deal with being able to be outside your dormitory after dark. I assume that back in the late 1800s when this game is taking place, the rules at Hogwarts were a little bit more lax, and they let you get away with a little bit more. And it's kind of the way I justify it to myself. But yeah, just those little things that are, when you're doing them, you're like, this doesn't really make sense. Whatever, it's a video game, we'll be fine.
Another little detail that I have been driving myself crazy over is the peak moment, which I want to hear what it was like for you spiritually, emotionally, when the Sorting Hat comes out, right? One of the biggest moments in your Hogwarts career. This is it. You're getting drafted. You know what I mean? Like this is huge. And we're watching The Last of Us right now, and we played Red. There's just so much like good storytelling going on, even in Harry Potter, that right before you get the Sorting Hat on, I believe it's right before, maybe it's right after. It's right there. Headmaster, Mr. Black, we'll call him because I don't know his first name off the top of my head. Phineas. He makes a brief announcement to all the students.
Yep.
Where he says, students, Quidditch will be suspended this year. There will be no Quidditch. And as I was sitting there, I might even said out loud, I'm like, okay, so that's going to be a quest. Like you're going to be able to figure out the secret of what happened from other students. You're going to piece it together. You're going to solve it, and you're going to somehow save it. And like, there's gonna be epic Quidditch because otherwise, that moment is a looking right into the lens, saying, "Hey, you playing the game.
Too bad.
you're not playing Quidditch. You know,
Yeah.
dude, and then I find out from my roommate who's like, dude, that sucks. You can't play Quidditch. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I read that like people are mad you can't play Quidditch. I'm like, what?
I know. Yeah, that was one that I had heard before the game, so my expectations
Oh, I had no
were
clue.
managed for it. It's disappointing for sure. It's one of those where Professor Black looks at you and says, "Hey, sorry, Devs didn't have time. Maybe in the next game."
Yes, dude.
So because when I was a kid, there was a game called Quidditch World Cup that I had on my Xbox.
Yeah, dude. There were Quidditch games.
So fun. And it's one of those that I'm already thinking about DLC and sequels
Sure.
to this, and if they do a second game, I would say rather than doing another story at Hogwarts, you go design like Ilvermorny, I think, the American Wizarding School,
Sure.
and do Ilvermorny and introduce Quidditch with Americanized rules where the snitch is not just a immediate win kind of thing, and
Where we use
I
our
think
hands, not our feet, right? That's how we
obviously,
do
yeah,
football. That's how we do football.
do it like adults. But yeah, so that was a little disappointing. But there's so much else in this game. It's too bad though because the flying is really, really fun
Really?
and satisfying. And
Yeah.
it's funny we've mentioned Red Dead Redemption a couple times because I think that sort of established itself as the gold standard of these story-driven open world games.
Yeah.
And one feature that I think would make this game so much better, and such a simple one that Red Dead did that I wish more games did, it's just your ability to say hi to any NPC in the whole world. You
Yeah.
can greet them, you can antagonize them. It's simple, but it makes the whole world feel a little bit more alive.
Yeah.
And if I could walk around and just say what's up to a student or a teacher,
Yeah.
as I'm walking around, it just pulls you into the world and makes it feel more real.
Yeah, it's unique, and I don't know, like in Red Dead, that was called honor, right? You would either gain honor by always being greeting, always helping the blind, always like doing that, and then of course you do bad stuff, and the honor drops. Like, I mean, you could easily do that with like reputation or something at school where it's like, dude,
how many points have you earned or lost for your
absolutely, and yeah, that's definitely. It's definitely a good point. Otherwise, like I'm overwhelmed by how much there's going to be to discover. And I knew going into this game that like I'm going to be wrapped up in the side missions, and I'm going to, and honestly, we can talk a bit about the main story. It sounds like you're not super far into it, but enough to where, I mean, I for one just love how separated we are from everybody. I mean, like, even like I kind of groaned a bit whenever I heard the name Weasley, and when I saw the name Black, I kind of was like, oh, okay. But they've separated it, with you got you're rocking with Fig, but we're just going to familiar places. You're going to Gringotts, but now you're learning about Ranrock, and this like kind of new, different evil. What's your take on the story? And like, yeah.
I'm already really enjoying it. And I think even just a couple hours in, I was like, this feels a little bit more authentic than even like the Fantastic Beasts movie.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And yeah, I do agree with you. I think, time wise, I'm like, yeah, I guess Professor Black was headmaster here in canon and all that. And, it is a reminder that the Weasleys and the Blacks and, all these other families are these, wizarding families with these really long lineages. So, it makes sense they're there. I find myself drawn to the other newer characters more, but it feels like a Harry Potter game without Harry Potter should, where you're sort of the chosen one.
Yep. Totally.
You have access to this unique power, and you're discovering what happened in the past, and you and Professor Fig are teaming up to try to what is Ranrock up to? Why is he doing this? I've really, really enjoyed the main story so far. I think the side quest, I'm typically a big side quest guy. I haven't been doing a ton of them. It's sort of a situation where if I'm in the area, I'll get to it.
Right, totally.
But really, the main quests and the assignments where you're learning new spells and it really just the exploration has been drawing me in more than anything. The Merlin trials and the puzzles that you find out in the world. That's where I spend a lot of my time killing poachers, exploring.
Puzzles are my like favorite part of like every game. Like Riddler challenges, man. Like that's my dessert at the end of those games. Like that's like what you do, because then you get to read all these stories that are attached to the world, and it's like, yeah, you're immersed, and I'll totally hit the nail on the head. Like, you're a chosen one, and like I'm kind of really trying to like dissect it as I'm watching. I'm like, man, they really wrote this so generally, so that they're like, oh, this student, or oh, you know.
You never hear a name
No, not
once, and
not one
it was
bit.
about an hour before I was like, I'm meeting all these people, and I've never introduced myself. No one's ever asked me who I am.
Yeah. Oh, and dude, like everyone, it sounds like everyone should be asking why there's a fifth year just strolling up, like out of
I'm
nowhere.
curious if
They
we're
make
ever
it
going to
seem-
get an
they
answer to that.
Yeah, they make it seem like you're so weird and so unique, but then no one's really
At this
calling
point.
that out.
Yeah, I'm already into the fall season, and nobody has mentioned whether like was I abroad? Did I just
Sure.
get my powers? I just want a little background on why I'm a
Yeah.
fifth year. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm going to get it, if it's something they're
Are
gonna
my
leave up
parents
to the
are my
player.
parents alive? You know,
Right.
like that's a very important question for every main character.
Especially if you're the chosen one.
Yes.
Odds are probably not.
Odds are probably not. Who okay, did you probably connected your Harry Potter account? I was nervous that connecting my Harry Potter account would make it so I would end up in the same house. I did end up in the same house that I'm on Pottermore, but I also just, what was it, 2 questions? Like it was kind of a and then
Yeah, I mean,
A.
yeah, for the sorting hat in the game, it was just basically what house do you want to be in. I didn't end up connecting mine. I haven't logged into Pottermore in many moons and didn't remember my account info and was just like, get this stuff off my screen. I want to play the game.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm a simple man with main character syndrome, so I had to go Gryffindor.
Did you get selected to Gryffindor first?
Yes.
Okay, I did as
Yes,
well.
I'm a Gryffindor through and through. So
Nice.
I was very tempted to do something else and kind of explore just a sort of different option, see some of the other common rooms. But you know, if I'm gonna live my Hogwarts fantasy, at the end of the day, I had to be in Gryffindor.
Yeah, dude, I grew up wanting to be Harry Potter, and so like I get to be Harry Potter. Damn it!
Yeah,
like
I won't take any slander.
I did tell myself, because I was like, dude, whatever you get drafted, like you have to take it. Like don't be that guy, because that guy at my work, he's Ravenclaw, and he seems hyped about it. But
then that's where you deserve to be.
I'm like, dude, good. And if I was in Ravenclaw, I'd just be like, all right, well, what the hell do we do in Ravenclaw? Do you guys like, what do you guys hoop? Like,
what's your thing? We all just doing math homework up here all the time?
Do you guys have a
fantasy fun going on?
Do you guys have a fantasy Quidditch league going, like that we could all log on to?
Ravenclaw could use you a little bit, I think, but no, we'll be tearing it up in the Gryffindor common room, putting some bets in on whether the Chudley Cannons are going to take it this year all the way or not.
Yeah, dude, like draft wizards, like not draft kings. All right, so okay, I had a few questions. What did you like more? Did you like putting the key in the house chest or collecting Zenobia's gobstones? Because those were like things that kept getting said that I was like, whoa, stop talking about this girl's gobstones, dude.
So at that point, yeah, it happened. And I had a weird like bug with that where sometimes I would like pick one up and then I'd go back and it was there. And so eventually I took 10 minutes and I just ran all around the castle and just grabbed him. I was like, please stop talking about it.
Yeah, because he brings it up if you're in whatever room and it's there.
Yes, I'm like, oh my god, I will just get the gobstones and we'll get it for the poor girl. We'll be done with it.
Yeah.
Right now, my favorite thing is following the Daedalian keys to try to capture the to open up the house chest.
Yeah.
So I think I'm maybe like halfway there. That's one where I just would like to do it organically. Like I'll hear the key, I'll follow it. You slap it into the chest.
Yeah, dude. That's a hard little mini game. That is
it tests your reflexes. It keeps making you flinch, and then it's very satisfying.
At the first jump, you have to be on that thing.
Yeah, that's a big one. Who's your favorite companion NPC you've met so far?
Dude, I like the kid from Slytherin. I don't know why.
Oh, Sebastian. He's a homie. I love Sebastian.
I like Sebastian. I don't mind him. Let me see this real quick. Sebastian's cool. But yeah.
I lost your webcam a little bit here, my man.
Yeah, no, you definitely lost my webcam. Hold on a sec. Who is your favorite?
Yeah, I mean, thus far, Sebastian is the guy that when his quest comes up, I'm like, sweet, me and my boy, let's go get it. I do like Natty. She's very sweet. She was kind of the first one who took me to Hogsmeade, and just seems like a good stand-up Gryffindor.
Natty's the one.
Other Gryffindors.
I keep choosing Natty for when it's like who do you want to team up with or whatnot.
Right. Yeah, she just seems like a stand-up gal. And I just had my first class with her mom a day or two ago, and she also seems really nice. But that's half the fun of this game, is you just get to
Yeah.
kind of, it leaves a lot, I think, to you as the player to sort of make up your own stories and relationships and backstory and stuff like this,
Yeah.
rather than try to make it really predefined. And it's probably for the best.
Is there anything that's in the books, not in the movies, that you've experienced in this that's like holy crap? Like seeing this come to life is pretty cool because I mean, whether it's parts of the castle, spend a little more time in.
Mm-hmm.
There was one spot. Oh, even no, the kitchen. Like I thought
The
that was
kitchen.
I thought that was very unique. Where I'm like, I wonder if this wasn't the game where they stumbled in or in the books at some point. But I was like, this is like a really kind of messed up, but like cool,
Yeah.
kitchen.
Even down to where you have to tickle the pear to get the porch to open. I
Yeah,
mean, they really went through these books and took out as many of the sort of architectural details they
yeah,
possibly could to put it. But at the same time, it still blows me away when I walk around. Compared to the what you see in the movies and even kind of the image I've had in my head, it is the architecture is so much more colorful and it's diverse everywhere you go. Where it's not just this stone castle, right? It has
yeah,
you know, all these different materials all around and stained glass that shines off the marble floor and statues and
yeah,
these big wide staircases and tapestries and everywhere you go it feels a lot homier and more beautiful, I think, than uh the way you see it in the movies, which is no knock on them. It's an iconic castle from the films, but even within an hour walking around Hogwarts, I was like, I get it. This is why everybody wants to stay here over
yeah,
summer. Like this is the coolest place ever. And
yeah.
I'm kind of walking around always finding like where would I be chilling with my friends? And I kind of,
Hmm.
find my new
Yeah,
spots every now and then. I'm like, oh, I didn't know this was here. This courtyard is awesome. I'm like, this is where I
yeah.
would be hanging out, reading a book, studying,
And
doing all
even just the way they recreated these classrooms that we
that.
like grew up in, like that, like it's so cool that potions class looks exactly the way that
Yep.
Harry and Hermione and Ron will be in later, and Defense Against the Dark Arts class and that little office
And
up
getting a little
above.
backstory on the dragon on the ceiling
Yes,
of the Defense Against the Dark Arts class, where your
I,
professor was the one who
yeah,
destroyed this poaching ring and
I'm
killed this beast,
super.
and now it's there.
Yeah, I'm super hyped that it does things like that. Like those are the kind of callbacks or the Easter eggs that like will really excite me. And yeah, the Weasleys, the Blacks, it's cool. And I'm sure we'll probably see some other familiar characters, but yeah, it's been a sick experience.
Yeah, I even found the other day a secret room behind a portrait, which is apparently where the fat lady and her friend Violet meet up for drinks and to get mead from another poster. And I was like, well, what a cool little detail I wouldn't have found if I hadn't cast, Depulso on this one stone to open this up. It's just so fun the way the sense of discovery you get, and you're just smiling constantly when you're walking around.
Yeah, dude. Hopefully, as we, I want to switch over to The Last of Us, but I think we'll probably get to a more spoiler discussion as we get to the end of this game and talk about,
Hmm.
the future of if there are going to be more of these games because I don't know, dude. This is kind of feeling like a video game channel because we're talking about The Last of Us now
I know.
too, which has become, this worldwide phenomenon, dude. It's a thing that got me like want to do this again. You helped that out. We were just talking about episode 1 and 2, and the conversation there was, is this going to be the greatest show of all time? And then we haven't heard from you since, and we got an episode 3, which is
Hmm.
being hailed as one of the greatest episodes of television of all time.
Absolutely.
Episodes 4 and 5 in Kansas City, and then this latest one of really we get, and spoilers ahead, but we finally get our first Joel and Ellie moments and more conversation, an episode really. What's been your take since we talked to you last?
Well, I think when I had when I called in with my comment, one of the things I was like, hey, this has been good so far, but the whole show is going to hinge on, now that it is just Joel and Ellie together, the chemistry between Pedro Pascal and
Yeah,
Bella Ramsey, that is what this whole franchise is about. Is it going to be there? And I think at this point it absolutely has.
dude. Yeah,
They hit all the notes of Joel and Ellie so much that I think it's a testament to them that I see them as Joel and Ellie and not just actors playing the characters from the game.
yeah,
Um, Especially in Sunday's episode when you get that iconic conversation between Joel and Ellie once they're in Jackson, and Joel's like, "Hey, you're safer with Tommy. I gotta leave you." He is just so terrified of losing Ellie, of failing again, and tries to push her away. And she says, "Everybody leaves me, Joel." And just that moment from the game is just seared in your brain. But when you're watching it, it feels fresh, but it feels familiar at the same time, which I think they've just done so well throughout this whole show. Make sure the people who played the game get those moments and get those, oh, hey, kind of things, but still make it feel like its own thing and like it's not just retreading what's already been done, but really faithfully trying to bring it to a wider audience. I think it's been spectacular.
Yeah, man. And honestly, like that was my last critique of it last week when me, Mike, and Shay were talking about it, was that like, dude, the show has been so great, but man, and Henry and Sam and Bill and Frank and Tess and Sarah and like all these like really incredible characters. Kathleen even like got really great episodes, really great scenes, but like. And those are all there in the game, but what we haven't seen is just walking through empty towns and, going through abandoned arcades and Ellie going, "What's this one?" And, like those moments, we haven't got them, but those have all happened by now. Like we should have already been so tight with Joel and Ellie now that by episode 6, and I'm cool with it because this really is a turning point in the game and in the movie and in the story. It's clear that they just don't understand each other, that they are all they have left. And like, they're at a point where why invest in another human again if I'm just going to lose them? But that's all they have is each other. And it's like these two both got their chance to perform too. Like we kept saying like, oh, Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal's daddy, and he can do whatever he wants. Which it was true, but we haven't gotten a scene in an episode like this, even with him and Tommy, dude. Like that was so important, and I was a little nervous. I was telling my buddy on the phone, is that scene like felt a little like I almost liked it that Joel held it in all game, and he didn't really reveal too much about what he was going through. I think that said a lot about just kind of being a protector and being this fearless leader. But I guess see Pedro, really lay it out that he is terrified of losing someone else and he cannot do it again. Like,
well, I think you hit two interesting points there. And I think one of the showrunners, I don't think it was Neil Druckmann, I think it might have been the other Craig Mazin, I think is his name. Put it really succinctly where Joel being with Ellie makes him more afraid, and with Ellie being with Joel makes him less afraid.
Yeah.
And what a simple but like incredible conflict to create between two people who really care about each other. And I agree with what you said, and I think Mike made an interesting point the other day where he says, I really, really like this show, but I think people who played the game seem a little bit more invested and connected with all of it.
Yeah.
Which, for a couple of reasons, obviously when you play the game, it's over a much longer time span. But you get those moments where, you're just walking from A to B and Ellie is, commenting on, oh, what is this arcade game? But you also get to, and I think why we needed that scene from Joel with Tommy is because when you are playing as Joel, you really fundamentally understand just through the gameplay how hard it is to survive, how hard you're fighting all the time to protect yourself and protect this girl. And every shot counts because if you miss a bullet, you're going to need that later. If you use your shiv now, there's a clicker that you're going to have to sneak past later. And it gives you that sense of desperation and almost hopelessness that you feel as the player the whole time. And it's been hard for me to know to put myself in the shoes of somebody who's going into this game blind.
Yeah.
And see if they're feeling all the same things that I feel from it. Because this game was, I think, the first video game that ever made me cry. Once you get to several moments during the last few hours of the game, it just cut you so deep. But
well, dude, and I don't know how you felt. Like I was, and I said it last week, but when I was watching the Sam and Henry scene, and my take was like, oh, they might change the game a little bit here. Like Ellie might save him with this. I mean, this might be that, like, I could see it working, but I'm also like, or they could be fooling audience members who haven't played the game, who know what the next morning looks like.
Right.
And then when the next morning comes and he was sitting on the edge of the bed. In the game, he's twitching, but he was sitting on the edge of the bed. I mean, it came rushing back to my head.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny because it's been a long time since I played the game, but it's a testament to how good it was and how visceral your memories of it are.
Yeah.
At the end of that first Kansas City episode, when you meet Henry and Sam for the first
Yeah.
time, I was like, "Oh, them! Oh
no,
not again.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
don't do this to me."
Yeah,
That happens
dude.
all the time when I'm watching this show. I'm like, "Oh, this part. Oh no, this part."
No, yeah. That's funny.
I love that, and it's so cool. Just the structure of the show, how you get these little peeks at life for so many different people
Yeah,
as
totally.
in the world. And it's no surprise to me that Kansas City is a cesspool, and that those people ate themselves apart at the first possible chance. That just makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what Chiefs fans would do. I totally understand it. But seeing Henry and Sam go
My
through
roommate just turned it on. I can hear it. I can hear the acoustic
that
guitar.
guitar. Oh.
Yeah, that's
And just
so
shouts out to HBO for I don't think there's an HBO intro that I ever skip.
Oh yeah, man, that's
From Game
so
of
true.
Thrones to
They can take
Succession
that.
to The Last of Us to The White Lotus. I just want to sit there and soak it in every time. That minute and a half is awesome.
They can turn that feature off, and I think they won't get complaints. They can turn that thing off. Even even Entourage, I was like into, and
Yes.
Sopranos,
Yeah.
you're just like this gets you right in to where you're supposed
That's
to
what
be.
a good intro should do. Is it should set the mood, set the tone for what you're gonna do. And I think HBO just hardly ever misses the mark with that.
Yeah. And it looks like we're getting the next episode. They are going to kind of veer off again. We're going to get Ellie's perspective of the Fireflies, and
Right. It
she's
looks
gonna
like
be
this is a flashback episode for Ellie,
Yep.
which I never played that DLC,
I
so it'll
did.
be prizes.
I did, and dude, it was a DLC that was kind of like, damn, why was this out of the game? Like this totally could have been dropped into like,
It felt
let's say
essential.
chapter 6 or whatever, just like randomly, like because it's gonna be it'll be a fairly Bella Ramsey will probably get this is her moment.
Yeah.
But
The end of the last episode where they're at the university and Joel ends up stabbed in the gut, and his fate is kind of in question.
before you move any further, do you like stabbed in the gut as opposed to falling out of a window and
No,
landing on-
the falling off the balcony and getting the like pylon through the stomach was,
Yeah.
and then just cut to black, and then
Yeah.
it's Ellie in winter. It was one of my favorite
Yeah.
transitions in all of gaming or maybe anything. It's just you're just shocked, and then you're with Ellie,
Yeah.
with no answers for like an hour or two, and you're like, what have you been doing? Like it's winter, and
Yeah.
what is going on? And so it worked. I understand cinematically why they had to change it, but I do definitely prefer the scene from the game where you're fighting the Raiders.
And I always
take
thought that
the
that was a good example of like shit happens. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes like you can not get shot in all these freaking fights and then fall on something out of a window and then you could
and
die.
you're screwed.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, so I love that part, and I was looking forward to that. Well, 'cause even going into that episode, I figured that's
Yep.
where it would end, and I was like, are they going to do it that way, or are they going to change it? And they change it. It makes sense, but I do prefer the original one there.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It'll be interesting.
How many episodes is it? What that was episode 6?
I believe
7, 8, 9?
I believe 7, 8, 9 is what we got left.
Okay.
One more thing I got for you. I want to. I was thinking about this in the sauna. I was thinking like, man, what else could I ask Zach? You
were thinking about me in the sauna, huh?
I was,
that's a high compliment.
and you know what? I like literally. I don't know why this phrase popped in my head, but like I want to rewind the clocks, like a year. These AFC teams wouldn't dare touch the fact that that the AFC West was gonna have Russell Wilson. Oh my gosh, they're gonna push all the Chargers. That young hot Chargers team was gonna get a little better
with the genius Brandon Staley driving it.
They have stars.
Devontae Adams,
Devontae
Derek Carr, and
Adams.
Josh McDaniels. Like that's gonna be
Tyreek Hill went to the Dolphins.
The Chiefs are in a rebuild.
The Chiefs are going to take a step back, and you sit here now, and you have your group therapy or whatever it is, There's a reason
know
you
why
have.
we're afraid to
There's
tune in
there's
on
a
Sunday.
reason you guys can gather in January. It's because you have nothing to do.
Right.
And there's only one thing. There's only one thing you can do. It's kill the Pat. Right. I mean, because how does it feel sitting here? One, the fact that you got really great offseason news already. Again, you've already off to a great offseason start. But
get my hopes up. Again.
Those damn Kansas City Chiefs. What can you say about them? What can you say?
At this point, I spent a lot of time really just seething at the Chiefs and just hating them. At this point, you just have to respect what a incredible offensive team they are, how good Patrick Mahomes is, what a brilliant coach Andy Reid is.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that Andy Reid retires sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is going to be Patrick Mahomes for the next 10, 15 years, and you're going to have to deal with it. I'm hoping probably like everybody in Brady's division for all those years was like, well, Brady's going to be here, but maybe Belichick leaves at some point. But I really know what Bills and Dolphins and Jets fans, right? Jets fans felt like for so many years, because you're just like, okay, well, we can get good maybe, but you watch the Chiefs play and you're just like, I can't imagine we can get to that kind of level. So hopefully, Andy Reid coaches another 2 years and then, maybe wins another Super Bowl, calls it a day, and gives the rest of the AFC West a chance. Or, maybe Roger Goodell will answer one of my letters about reshuffling all the divisions. I'd be really into that idea personally.
Kansas City doesn't feel quite West, It doesn't.
That's they're in Missouri. Like, give me a break. Like, let's shuffle this around a little bit.
Come on, yeah. Is like Houston or Dallas even more West? You might, if you maybe
something like that. I mean, I'm not a geography.
You could probably draw.
I know Kansas City shouldn't be in Denver's division.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Really, I think the AFC West needs to get their act together enough to not let Kansas City get 6 free games a year and just waltz into that first round bye. If we can at least, give them a couple extra losses here or there, maybe give one of the better AFC teams a chance to get that first round bye, make their path to the Super Bowl a little bit tougher next time. But yeah, I don't see any of those teams dethroning the Chiefs anytime soon, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But my team won a Super Bowl, in 2015, so I can ride that out for a little while longer.
You're fine, and there's, for a lot of teams, like they dealt with different storylines in the year, and the big one for the Broncos was high knees on an airplane to Europe. So I mean, that's kind of
I just want to take
that's what
moment.
You can chalk up the season to.
I get Russell Wilson as a corny guy, but the fact that we spend more time talking about him and his cheesiness than Deshaun Watson or these other pieces of shits in the league really gets my goat. Is he a goofy dude? Sure. Is he a bad guy? Not at all. And I think
that's fair.
Anybody who watched those last 2 games after Nathaniel Hackett got fired, that team looked significantly better. It had interim head coach Jerry Rosburg been there all year. Different kind of season. I think with Sean Payton, we'll see a Russell Wilson that we're familiar with. Maybe not, an MVP caliber Russell Wilson, but a guy who, can actually move the ball downfield in an offense that can score more than 10 points a game, which will go a long way in this league.
Gosh, yeah, dude. The Broncos were definitely a top storyline of the year, of just like, what, man?
What is going on? Like, how is this so bad?
Like,
no, it was the hardest season I've ever had to watch of my team.
And dude, you saw them live twice, right?
Three times.
Three times.
And hey, they won 2 out of the 3. So
hey,
that was good. The games I was there, 66%. So they showed out for us, but hopefully better times ahead. I'm not saying there's a Super Bowl coming up, but I believe I just want to make the playoffs at this point. It's been a long time. I just want to have meaningful games in December and January. We'll see.
Well, I think it's possible. I think, these things happen, and now we got the Suns. There's some excitement in the Valley. There's
absolutely.
Hopefully, I don't remember anything, even as a sports fan, more exciting than that title run a couple years ago. So I'm hoping, because I remember watching every freaking playoff game locked in. Like every day a playoff game was on, you'd wake up and it'd be like, shoot, it's tonight. Like, oh,
It's
okay,
it's. I just
tonight.
remember the nervousness is a feeling that you don't. I remember the first 2 or 3 years after the Broncos had won the Super Bowl and they didn't make the playoffs. I was like, it's nice to go into the playoffs and not be stressed about your team all week
Sure.
and not be so
Yeah.
nervous and not have that anxiety. I miss that anxiety. I want
Yeah.
I want that anxiety and those nerves again because you go long enough without it and you start to forget what it's like. So hopefully the Phoenix can have a little bit more of that this year because man, what a fun time that was in the Valley
Gosh,
that
dude.
year.
Gotta get it. You've been watching, reading, anything else you want to recommend to the people? DBN, anything you see? I saw on Sunday. I'll let you think while I tell. On Sunday, I watched All Quiet on the Western Front.
Ooh.
And dude, I recommend that movie. It's
Okay.
like it's a war movie.
Right.
The only problem is it's a little long. That's my only issue with it. Otherwise, it is so beautiful. It is an anti-war movie, which I saw someone had a
Exactly.
quote on Letterboxd. Adam Kempenar said he quoted someone else. I don't even know who that person is, but he said like every war movie, or no, there's no such thing as an anti-war war movie. Like, because if it's war, people are seeing it because it's awesome. But like this one, I think breaks that rule. It was his point, and I was like, yeah. Because like the scenes that I thought were awesome were just like, dude, how did they pull this off? This looks incredible. Rather than like, oh, that was a sick shot and that guy went flying. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I remember seeing that the original movie in high school and having that similar reaction of being like, oh, this is just kind of a this sucks sort of movie. Like the kids are so excited to go and prove themselves, and turns out it's actually a really terrible time.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Recommendations. If you're a reader and you want to get into maybe the best fantasy series ever, start Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb. Can't recommend it enough. I just hope you have some tissues ready because it's going to tear your heart out and you're just going to keep coming back for more. 16 books though, so it's a big commitment. I've been reading it for a year.
Wow.
I
how far in are you? 16 books?
I am on book 13, I think.
Jeez,
book
dude.
14.
Bravo.
Yeah, I can't recommend it enough. Fitz Chivalry, the main character, is I think the best written character in all of literature that I've been exposed to. Highly recommend. I also highly recommend against going and seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That movie was abysmal.
Oh no, dude, I meant to bring it up with Mike last week. Is that I wanted to bring up the Flash trailer because it was insane. That like
looked really cool.
It looks incredible, but it's also just insane that they're showing like that. This is
who knows
going.
if this is going to work or not?
No. What this means is that it's really good, and that they are like, we can't just like throw this away. They might not
will skip it if they don't. Yeah.
There was a lot of talk that Batgirl movie was good. I'm like, dude, if it was good, I actually think they would have said, no, we're gonna risk it. Like that's what they do, and I think the Flash can be good. The Marvel issue is, I'm like, dude, I've been kind of out of Marvel since Thanos. Like I've been kind of here and there. Spider-Man, what was it, Far From Home, or the latest one? Yeah, I saw that one. I saw Doctor Strange. I've seen a couple of these, but like, dude, is there anything to be excited about with Marvel?
So I've been up on Loki. I'm excited for. And Guardians of the Galaxy 3 could be good. And I've been staying up on Marvel. Shang-Chi I really enjoyed. I think there's been some good projects.
Sure.
But as the launch of Phase 5, I think, as this Ant-Man movie, it shook my confidence in Marvel so deeply that they still have any idea what they're doing. That I'm like, I might be tapping out until, for a while at least, because if that was the kind of writing and overall product that they put out, I think they've lost a lot of their magic. And I've seen defenders been like, oh well, your expectations are too high after Endgame and yada yada yada. It's like, just make a good movie. That's all I'm asking for. I don't want every Marvel movie to be Endgame, but if this is the level that we're going for now and that we're okay with, then I'm good with where Endgame was then. Let's not tarnish that reputation by cranking this stuff out.
Yeah. It's unique, and the only reason I would have thought to see it was because the runtime was so short, and I'm like, you know what? Like I'll go to a 2-hour Paul Rudd movie. Like you don't have to tell me otherwise.
And Paul Rudd and Jonathan Majors, with all their charm, really tried to carry that movie, and they are the only part of the only good parts of that movie. And there's just so much crap wrapped around it that and I'm not usually an overly critical movie watching. I just want to go in, I want to enjoy it. But when you when you layer too many kind of like flaws and things that take me out of it, make me go, what?
Yeah.
In the first 30 minutes, 45 minutes after that, you are just everything they do is just piling on
Yeah.
to the poor quality. And it was one where it was almost bad enough to be enjoyable, but not quite that bad, and it just ends up in that realm of mediocrity that just makes it. I was like, it was a short movie, and it could have been 2 hours shorter.
Jeez, that's wild. Did you see Avatar?
I did, yeah.
What do you think? What was your take, Avatar?
It was what I wanted from an Avatar movie.
Yeah.
Nothing from a story perspective like groundbreaking, but visually incredible. I got to go back to Pandora,
Sure.
see more parts of the world.
The water
Jake
was
Sully,
beautiful. Like, yeah.
water was beautiful. The creatures,
Yeah.
the story was, we cloned the bad guy and he's back, and oh well, Sigourney Weaver has a clone and she's there. There's a lot of just kind of hand wavy
A lot of
movie
tropes.
stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
no! Like the kids are inviting me out. Oh, and then they're leaving me out there.
Oh, and they're
I'm
mean,
like,
and I
oh,
got
I've never
abandoned.
seen this before.
Yeah, so nothing, groundbreakingly original, but I had a great time watching that movie.
Sure.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't think those movies need to try to be some kind of high art, literary thing. I think James Cameron knows what he wants those movies to be, and I think he's good at making them. So I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah. It's I have a weird thing about that movie is one, I think the visuals are underrated still. Like they really are that incredible. Like I don't think our eyes are able to compute like that. That is crazy. You can't see stuff. Like I thought they went to another planet. It's also weird to me that this I think tries to be an anti-war movie or an anti-colonial movie or
environmentalism movie.
Yeah, or an anti-hunting movie, but dude, those hunting scenes of killing those whales were dope as fuck. And then they were fucked up the next second, it was
Right.
oh, that's awesome. And
But when that guy's on a
dude.
jet ski and they're flying through the water and they're shooting harpoons, I was like, I don't feel good about this. But
I'm like,
I
damn,
can see
dude.
why that dickhead captain is having a great time.
I know. I'm like, do it again. Get another one.
Yeah, and it is just funny to me because I think I saw James Cameron said the next one is going to have fire Navi, and for a
Okay.
franchise called Avatar, it's starting to feel a little
Yeah, interesting.
like it's pulling a little bit
Yeah.
from Last Airbender, which I got no problem with, but I don't know
including
if you
the
want to
title.
be drawing
Including the title, yeah.
literally. But if you want to be drawing comparisons, maybe don't do it. One of the best shows ever, in my opinion.
But that's how you do it. I mean, didn't Avatar 1, they ripped off Fern Gully. They're just like, yeah, we'll do it. Maybe no one will notice. Maybe that's what's happening.
Yeah, I don't. Those original criticisms of Avatar. This is Pocahontas in space, and it's
Sure.
like, wow, congratulations! You realize that stories have similar
Yeah.
structures throughout time. Bravo to
Yes.
you for putting those pieces together. That we just tell the same
Yes.
stories in different settings with different characters.
Yes, exactly.
But it's funny to me too. Maybe I'm just easy to please, but like Jake Sully, clearly just your kind of standard white guy protagonist, even if he's blue now. I love him. I think he's great. I like Sam Worthington. I just think he's fun when he's on screen. Zoe Saldana, fantastic. The family,
little wasted.
Yeah. I
Didn't
I-
she?
I-
She was barely. I felt like I can't be like. Do you remember that Zoe Saldana moment? No,
right.
Yeah.
But
But there was just so much going on.
Absolutely, and her in Avatar, I think she did have a bigger role because she's sort of your conduit for explaining this world, and she's a badass and all that. And now that Jake understands it, and he's also a warrior, she has a little bit less of an important role, which I hope changes the next one. Because really, I think we all want to see Zoe Saldana have the top 5 movies of all time at the box office, and she's getting close. Close.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson's got to be up there, right? I mean, that guy's been in. He's been in Star Wars, and he's been in Marvel, and all his other stuff.
He's barely. I guess he technically is in Infinity War, right?
I'm like, dude, he was an elf too in Lord of the Rings. No, I was kidding.
For a second, I thought you meant Elf, Jon Favreau, and Will Ferrell. Samuel L. Jackson.
He might have been in that one. He might have been. Yeah.
No, but there's some good stuff coming up. I'm excited for Oppenheimer for sure.
Sure.
And for whatever reason, you've been telling me how much you love the Before trilogy for years, and I was just the other day, I was like, I need to do it. I need to dive in. I need to get it in. So it's in the next week or two. I'm gonna at least catch the first one and let you know what I think.
Yeah, dude. That's oh yeah, man. Pour yourself a glass of wine.
Should I wait and watch it with Kat? Is that a good
You
date movie to
should,
watch?
you should, as long as you two can watch a movie. You know, I don't know what etiquette is when you two watch a movie. If it's like, yeah, we're gonna watch this movie, but or if it's
I'm
like,
very much we're watching the movie.
unless it's like a movie that you're like, you know, we're just gonna put on the town. You know, it's like I just need the energy. You know what I mean?
God, we take it.
I just need some energy from this movie.
Right. That's one where hey, we're gonna sit down, no phone, watch the movie for 2 hours,
Sure.
and then whatever
Yeah, dude.
happens after happens.
Because that's that's a good one, man. I think that's a good trilogy.
Cool.
I recommend that for sure. But yeah, Zach, thanks so much for coming on, dude. We'll have you on soon, dude, as we inch closer to this Last of Us finale. You know, and yeah, dude, thanks so much for coming on.
It's a pleasure. I always appreciate the chance to talk about stuff that I love. How often do you get to hang out with your buddies for an hour
and it's just
gush about things that are cool?
It's a bro phone call, dude. It's what you know. It's like we're in that Airbnb in Osaka all over again. We're just bullshitting about nothing. Except we need some strong zeros.
Some strong zeros and some music playing from our phone and maybe
I'll-
a chocolate muffin.
I'll retire from the DBN the day that we get sponsored by Strong Zero. Like that'll be the day. Like that'll be like, oh shoot, we've made it.
That's how you know you made it.